Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 12, text 12. श्रेयो हि ज्ञानमभ्यासात् ज्ञानाध्यानं विशिष्यते ध्यानात् कर्मफलत्यागस् त्यागात् शान्तिरनन्तरम्. So this one is one of the most, appears to be most complicated slokas of Bhagavad Gita. But Prabhupada very nicely explains in the purport. So you see how Krishna had been explaining the hierarchy. If you cannot take up to immersion, absorption in Krishna consciousness, there is a next step which is practice regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. Take certain vows and make sure you at least do that. It's like taking initiation, chanting, prescribed number of rounds, following regulative principles of these four sinful habits from indulging in those sinful habits. And if you cannot even do that abhyasa, then work for me, do service for me. And if you cannot even do that, contribute for some social cause. But don't enjoy your hard earned money because that will bind you. Of course, Krishna does not say you live like a beggar, but after what you have provided enough for you and your family and emergencies, you should not try to over accumulate. So these are the different hierarchies Krishna gave. And now sort of he summarizes them. Shreyo hi gnanam abhyasat. He seems to say gnana is better than abhyasa. Shreyo hi gnanam abhyasat. Gnana dhyanam visishyate. That part we understand. Typical understanding of spirituality is first there is karma and then there is gnana. When you are frustrated with doing your prescribed duties, karma kanda, then you come to gnana. You are advanced in knowledge and think, what is this? Why am I working hard? There is much something else beyond life. So you become little contemplative. You become a gnani. Oh, I'm a spirit soul. This is nothing for me. And then when you even graduate higher, you come to dhyana, meditation. I'm not just a spirit soul, but there is something else beyond it. There is super soul, there is Krishna. So gradually the dhyana. And first you start with super soul dhyanam, and then you come to Krishna. That is when abhyasa, bhakti abhyasa starts. So this is the hierarchy: karma, gnana, dhyana, and abhyasa, bhakti abhyasa. But now in this verse, it seems to go in the opposite direction. Krishna is saying, better than abhyasa is gnana, bhakti abhyasa. Better than bhakti abhyasa, which is supposed to be top. Krishna is saying, gnana is better. Shreyo hi gnanam abhyasat. And the second line, okay, makes sense. Gnana dhyanam visishyate. Dhyana is better than gnana. But then the third line says, dhyanat karma phalatyagaha. Better than dhyana is karma phala, which is supposed to be beneath it. So you see, there seems to be apparently inconsistencies if you do a reading like that. But the actual spirit of that reading is, Prabhupada explains very nicely, the intent is, if you cannot take up to abhyasa, the same intent that he has been explaining in the previous verses, the hierarchy, the same hierarchy he is actually summarizing. Shreyo hi gnanam abhyasat. If you cannot take up abhyasa, take up to gnana. Shreyo hi gnanam abhyasat. For those who are not able to take to abhyasa. That's the point. And gnana dhyanam visishyate. From gnana gradually you will develop into dhyana. Or if you cannot come to that point of dhyana on super soul, at least do dhyana on yourself. If you cannot come to gnana, at least do dhyana on yourself. There are people who do dhyana on themselves. And if you cannot even do that, then karma phalatyagaha, dhyanat karma phalatyagaha. At least give up the result of your work. So that is the whole sequence, Krishna says. That's how we should understand. So if you go to the purport, so Krishna, Prabhupada basically starts from the verse 8. Krishna told the highest thing is, Mai eva mana adatsva. Isn't it? You always practice full attachment in love to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then Abhyasa, which is regulative principles. That Prabhupada mentions in the first paragraph or the first part of the purport. And then he says, that's the sentence that explains the whole crux of this verse. For those who are actually not able to follow the principles of Krishna consciousness, it is better to cultivate knowledge. That's the point. Shreyo hi gnanam abhyasat. Meaning, those who are not able to practice abhyasat, shreya gnanam. For them, better for them, cultivate knowledge. Shreyo hi gnanam. Because by knowledge, one can be able to understand his real position. And gradually that knowledge will develop to the point of meditation. Gnanat dhyanam visishyate. And the knowledge will develop into meditation. Dhyanam visishyate. But if you cannot come to that point, then at least there are processes which make one understand that one himself is the supreme. And that sort of meditation is preferred. That is why gnana dhyanam visishyate. And if one is not even able to meditate in such a way, then there are prescribed duties. Karma phalatyagaha. Dhyanat karma phalatyagaha. What are these prescribed duties? As enjoined in the Vedic literature, for the Brahmanas, Vaishyas, Sudras, there are different kinds of duties, as Krishna explains later. But in all cases, karma phala should be given up. Karma phala tyagaha. This means to employ the result of karma for some good cause. So finally, so if you keep all, if you are still confused and want to understand final gist, so Prabhupada summarizes in the purport. In summary, to reach the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the highest goal, there are two processes. One process is by gradual development. Go karma phala tyaga, then meditating on yourself, then gnana, and then meditating on super soul, then abhyasa, then ultimate stage of Krishna absorption. So that is gradual development. And the other process is direct. You don't have to go through all these steps. Directly you take to Krishna consciousness. Devotional service in Krishna consciousness is the direct method. The other method involves all these stages. First, you do your prescribed duties, renouncing the fruits of one's activities, come to the stage of knowledge, and so on and so forth. The direct process is best for everyone, even though in other ages, people were taking the indirect process also because some of them, they could not take the direct process. It is, however, to be understood that the indirect process is not recommended for Arjuna because he is already at the stage of loving devotional service to the Supreme Lord. It is for others who are not at this state. For them, the gradual process is followed. But as far as Bhagavad Gita is concerned, it is the direct method that is stressed. So, final summary is last sentence Prabhupada says, everyone is advised to take to the direct method and surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. That is the gist of this. Take to the direct process. It's like a Prabhupada also mentions the analogy of taking the elevator. Say you have go to the top of the building, skyscraper. There are two methods. One is you directly take the elevator, which is the easiest method, most of the people do, or you take the staircase. Naturally, elevator is the direct and easiest method, especially in Kali Yuga. The number of stairs increase in Kali Yuga, making it harder, and there are hurdles at every step. So bhakti seems very easy, isn't it? Just get on the elevator and get to the top. But the problem is that not everyone wants to take this elevator. Even though if I tell there are many people who come to temple or many people we talk to who are interested in spirituality. Hey, the simplest process is chant the holy name of God and you will become self-realized. Oh, it is that simple? They cannot seem to accept it. They cannot seem to follow it. They cannot seem to practice it. They want their mental conception is unless I do something hard, unless I climb the staircase, I cannot achieve the top position. Like the the material mindset. Of course, even for bhakti also you have to work hard. It is not that it is by the extraordinary mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu we are given entrance into the staircase, into the elevator. Otherwise, the elevator is hidden. Not everyone is given access to the elevator. One who is extremely fortunate is blessed by a pure devotee who has done enough sukruti, who's got accumulated enough agnata sukruti, unknown devotional credits. When they encounter a pure devotee, the pure devotee opens that path of elevator. And then when you follow the instructions, so you have to go, you have to press the proper floor, you cannot press the bottom floor. So you have to follow particular rules and regulations of bhakti. So there are, it's not that you directly go and you go up, but you have to follow what is the prescription given by the lift operator, how to operate the lift, elevator. But it is compared to the other process, it is very easy. So it is also said that bhakti is rarely given. To get bhakti, as I said, we need to be graced with the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee of Krishna. When Prahlad Maharaj and Hiranyakashipu, they were having a tussle. In the sense, Hiranyakashipu was trying to get Prahlad to follow his demoniac ways. He hired all these demoniac teachers and tried to influence him. But Prahlad Maharaj remained completely pure and Krishna conscious. And when his father asked him what did he learn, instead of saying all the diplomatic demoniac concepts, he started to teach him about the devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnoho, Smaranam, Padasevanam. And Hiranyakashipu was shocked. How did you learn this? How did you, in the midst of these demons, in the midst of this kind of teachings, how did you become like this? And then Prahlad Maharaj, he says that until and unless you smear yourself with the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee, mahiyasam padarajobhishekam nishkinchananam na vrunita yavat naisham matista vadurukramangrim sprushantyanardhopagamam yadardaha mahiyasam padarajobhishekam Nishkinchananam na vrunita yavat. Urukramangrim mati means our mind in Krishna, Krishna consciousness. If our mind has to become Krishna conscious, by which anardhopagamam yadarthaha, all these anardhas, unwanted things, contaminations, everything inauspicious will be driven away from the heart. But if our mind has to become Krishna conscious like that, Nishkinchananam Mahiyasam Padarajobhishekam. Raja means the dust particles. One has to take the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee. It is not ordinary dust particles. It is everything concerned with the pure devotee is imbued with Krishna consciousness. When one hears the words coming from the mouth of a pure devotee, Sa uttama shloka mahan mukhachuto bhavat padam bhoja sudha kananilaha Shmutim punarvismruta tattva vatmanam kuyoginam yo vitaratyalambaraihi. What it means is, when a pure devotee speaks, the sound vibration gets mixed with the saffron particles at the lotus feet of Krishna, making it a wonderful nectarian mixture. And when that enters the ears of the hearer, and when it goes to the heart, that reawakens our lost remembrance of Krishna. We are all originally Krishna conscious living entities. Jivera Swarupa hai Krishnera Nityadas. But because of influence of Maya, we forget that eternal reality and we think we are this body. It is said that even the baby in the womb, just imagine that situation. You are tightly packed in that condition for 9 months. And when the baby gets consciousness after a few months initially, and the baby starts to feel that pain, and he starts to pray to the Supreme Lord, my Lord, please grant me liberation from this condition. I promise you I'll worship you. This is a prayer of the devotee or the baby in the womb. But when the baby comes out, he is completely enamored, captivated by the parents who are in the bodily concept, by the relatives who are in the bodily concept, by the world which is operating on the bodily concept. And so the baby completely forgets everything. Krishna bhuliya jeev. But that lost remembrance is awakened by gradually hearing from a pure devotee. Just like a person who is sleeping, he's completely forgotten that he has to wake up and go somewhere important. He's in the deep sleep. Suddenly somebody comes, his father or his mother or his wife comes and wakes him up. Oh, you have to get up, you have to go. Suddenly he wakes up. Oh my God, thanks for waking me up. Otherwise, I would have missed that important meeting. So, like that, a pure devotee's words are the vibrations coming from the spiritual world, just like the alarm wakes you up from your deep slumber. It wakes us up from this conditioned life. So, Prahlad Maharaj said, unless you smear yourself from the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee, you will not become Krishna conscious. So, in other words, he said, don't worry, you will never become Krishna conscious in this kind of situation because you are not submissive, you are not eager to hear and serve a pure devotee. You don't have that humility. You have lording over tendency. In fact, that element of Hiranyakashipu is there in all of us. We don't want to surrender or submit to anybody. We want to lord over everybody, isn't it? Why I have to serve? I have to serve my senses. I have to gratify my senses. Why I should serve somebody? This is the Hiranyakashipu mentality. We don't realize that the more we seek sense gratification, the more we suffer. The more we seek serving Krishna, the more we enjoy. It is a fact. The more you are chasing after sense gratification, the more you are in anxiety. Bigger house, bigger job, big wealth, bigger situation, bigger position. So you have to run, 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 capture, beat the competition, always in anxiety. It's natural, isn't it? If you eat a lot, you have to work a lot to digest that food. Otherwise, the food is disease. So that illusion is, oh, I'm enjoying by eating. But the reality is you're working hard to digest or you're suffering because of disease. But serving Krishna is not sense gratification. It is our natural state. Just like a teller in the bank. He is collecting all the money. But if he enjoys the money, what will happen? The bank will punish him, hand him over to the police. He will suffer. But if he gives everything, the last penny gives to the bank, they will even honor him for the best employee. And they will give him nice salary, nice amenities. So when you serve Krishna, it is not that you are suffering. Krishna will give you everything. That is pure enjoyment. Trying to enjoy separately from God is impure enjoyment. It is actually illusory enjoyment. Actually, it is suffering. So this consciousness is awakened when one gets the mercy of a pure devotee. And that is the entrance to the elevator that we were talking. So when the pure devotee opens that path to the elevator. So Prabhupada in one class, he was talking to his to the devotees. So he talked about some yoga processes, hatha yoga, gymnastic yoga. You may practice for many births, but you cannot see Krishna. Krishna can be seen when you develop love for him. And how you can develop love? That is to practice of bhakti. So why not practice bhakti from the beginning if you want to see Krishna? So this serving the deity, chanting his holy names, serving, doing service for Krishna. Everyone can love Krishna by doing the simple things, simple processes. Of course, the yoga and other things people do, they can do it for health. Prabhupada also said, if you are doing this yoga, pranayama, these exercises, this is good for health. But one should not be mistaken to think, oh, they are the spirituality. That is separate, that is on the material platform. But that should not be mistaken, that should not replace your Krishna consciousness. So one devotee was practicing these yogic postures and all that. And other devotees were coming and saying, no, 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 don't do that. It is not our line. And then he went and asked Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, no, these exercises are good, but we don't encourage people because people might confuse that to be the real path. And Prabhupada said it is not necessary that one has to do that. If one is getting benefit, they can do, but not that one has to do. So you can see here the verse talks about various other things you can do to reach the highest stage of spirituality, giving up our results, cultivating knowledge, doing meditation, so many other things. But our real focus should be how I can execute these principles of bhakti, abhyasa. And the simple thing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya asks him, what is the most important thing of all the processes of bhakti? And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, chanting the holy names, particularly this Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Why particularly this Maha Mantra? Why not any other mantra? So the answer is, in general, the Vedic mantras require certain qualification for the practitioner. Because the Vedic mantras are very, very potent and considered very powerful, like a nuclear reactor. The mantras are used to even release Brahmastra in Mahabharata, we see, isn't it? Ashwadhama released, but he could not counteract it. He didn't know that power of counteracting. He misused it. So it can wreak havoc. So you need a qualified person. You need to be a Brahmana, initiated. You need to be clean. You need to know how to chant the mantras, get trained. You need to have self control. You need to be knowledgeable. So all these things are there. So not everyone can practice all these Vedic mantras, Gayatri mantra, so on and so forth. But the Hare Krishna mantra is especially meant for those who don't have any qualification, particularly people of Kali Yuga who cannot be self controlled, who cannot acquire Brahminical qualifications, who cannot be clean. The surrounding situations don't allow us to follow things properly. That is why the Lord Himself comes in the form of His holy name and says, Niyamita Smaranayana Kala. There is no rules and regulations. Just chant my holy name and be benefited. I'll stop here. Anyone has any questions or comments? Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.